number 5 is Seven Wonders, which is the same as your number 5.
It is.
So, Seven Wonders. This is always fun for me because I've probably taught Seven Wonders as much as any other game.
Have we taught it 7 times?
Many more times. Closer to fucking 49 times.
Would you say, just to interrupt your discussion, would you say that this is possibly... like, Race for the Galaxy is probably your most played game, isn't it?
We'll get back to that right after these messages. Seven Wonders is a drafting game for 2, although really 3, to 7 players. You are aiming to build... to be one of the ancient wonders of the world, building up your civilization to score the most victory points. The game is split into 3 ages. You will get a hand of 7 cards, and you will choose one of those cards. Most of the time you'll be choosing to build that card, so you might be building a public bath, you might be building a barracks, you might be building an apothecary, you might be building a trading post. Everyone will choose a card, put it face down, pass the rest of their cards to their left. So that means everyone is making their decision at the same time, which is a really important point that we'll get back to. Then with your card, you can either build it, as I said earlier, or you could slot it under your board to build up your wonder of the world, which actually has powers in the game. Or you could just sell it for 3 little monies, and the monies can be used to buy resources of other players. You'll do this until everyone's down to just 2 cards. They'll play one and chuck the other one away. Then you'll fight your neighbours, the victor taking victory points, the loser suffering a loss. Then you'll play the second age, then you'll play the third age, doing all the wars in between, and that's the end of the game, and you score it. The game's called Seven Wonders. There are 7 different boards with 2 different sides each, so there's lots of variability there. There are 7 different colours of cards: brown, basic resource building cards; grey, luxury building resource cards; green science cards that give you tons of victory points if you can master a technology or show a great spread amongst several, as well as unlocking the construction of future buildings; yellow, which are about commerce and trade; blue, which are pure culture victory point cards; red, which are war, stabbing, murder cards, which can either give you a massive
War-stabbing
murder, which can give you a massive amount of victory points if your neighbour is a little wimp, or could lead you to an arms race that could ultimately lead to the collapse, in terms of victory points, of 2 different civilizations if they try and... I don't want to use the word penis, but that. And then lastly, there are guild cards.
Outdo each other.
Yeah.
There you go.
Which outdo, that's the one. Arms race, that would have been better. Guild cards, which mostly score you victory points based off what your neighbours have been doing. So I might play the War Guild, which will reward me if my neighbours have been playing a lot of war cards or things like that. And that is Seven Wonders. As you can see on the box, it won the Kennerspiel, and rightly blooming so. This game, I have taught to probably more people than ever. You asked how many times I've played it. I've played it 140 times.
That's pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. Yep, yeah. I played this first in Korea.
I was going to say, brought it back from the Far East.
I did. This is from Korea.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You bought this in Korea?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought you bought it as soon as you got back.
No, I bought this in Korea, and there's a Korean rulebook and all sorts.
Why don't you use that then?
Well, it's an easy alphabet, Alec. Funny you should ask. For me, this game combines... This is a Kennerspiel that's still on the lighter side. Something more akin to like Isle of Skye than Istanbul. And the beautiful thing about this game, one of my biggest pet peeves, and I am very bad for this, is downtime. Oh, how I hate downtime.
Did you know that he hated downtime?
Yeah, I'm glad we weren't recording that one game of Splendor where it was just like, come on, make your decision! Because in this game, loads of really good... Yes, this is very funny. Loads of really good games.
Alex got analysis process over this.
I can't really think what would cause downtime.
Yeah.
I don't know, what would?
You're killing me.
Wait.
So, loads of games will say, hey, it's okay, because on your turn, either the game's involved enough that you can think about what other people are doing and plan your strategy when it's your turn. When it's not your turn, plan your strategy when it's your turn. Yeah, that would be great. Or,
I usually
hey, the game's so light, yeah, it's Formula D, we're just gonna like drive around, we can just have a beer and just have a chat. Oh, is it my game again? Roll the dice, yeah,
Drink
great.
and drive.
Yeah. Formula One cars, it's a common problem. So those are usually the two arguments that games will come into.
Do you think that Seven Wonders helps in that regard, in the fact that you will go into the game thinking of a way to play?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it. It is because everyone will make a decision at the same time every turn. And the closest thing you get to downtime is I'm making my decision at the same time you're making your decision. I've made my decision and I'm waiting for you to make yours.
Yeah, but
right?
I think that waiting for you to make yours is lessened by Seven Wonders, because from the opening cards you play, you're thinking about exactly what you need. So the choices you make when you look at the hand will be dictated by your past actions. So you immediately think about
They
what you're
can,
going to do.
no,
next.
they can be.
I mean,
but
there are
also,
different ways to
as
change.
as an age goes on, it's
There are
diminishing
less
decisions.
Yeah.
So it gets progressively quicker,
Yeah.
which means that we often joke that the longest turn in Seven
It's the
Wonders.
first.
The first one of age 3, because you've got the most amount of options with the most amount of things on your table, and this is where any good Seven Wonders player is looking, right, this first card I play in age 3 could be the card that wins me the game. Now, the really key thing is as well, everyone's making their decisions at the same time. You're making, I mean, even if you just factor in the fact, let's not even do any of the multiplication with the number of cards that you're choosing between and the fact that you can do 3 actions each. Let's just simply say how many cards you play, right? You play 6 cards in the first stage, 6 cards in the next stage, and 6 cards in the next stage, okay? That is 18 decisions, which doesn't sound like a lot. But if you think that's 18 turns in a game, that's a lot of turns. And this game will play, it says 30 minutes on the box, you can easily play a game of original Seven Wonders in 30 minutes.
I think, yeah.
And it doesn't matter if there's 3 people or if there's 7. How many 7-player games that have this much game in them can you play in 30 minutes?
I think that's definitely a point to it, because if you're all veterans of playing Seven Wonders, you will zip around the game. And even if you're new to Seven Wonders, the reason it wins so many awards is because you immediately know what you're doing after maybe the 3rd time you play a card.
Yeah.
And you might make a few mistakes, but overall, you know exactly what you're doing. You know what each card means. The symbolism is perfectly well represented.
Yes, oh,
It's
symbology
not
is brilliant.
It's not like something like Race for the Galaxy, where you're looking. It's like, right, I'm going to teach you how to play the game. Now I have to teach you all the symbology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
This is definitely like a very easy, clean-cut game that everybody can enjoy.
I would say that Seven Wonders, I could teach Seven Wonders. I think it's easier to teach than Carcassonne is, right? Because of farmers in Carcassonne.
Yeah.
Now, if you take farmers out of Carcassonne, which most people would normally do when they teach it,
It's a very
it's a
easy
very
game.
simple game.
Yeah.
But it misses basically the real meat of Carcassonne.
Yeah.
You've got to strip the meat off the bones. With this, right, you can teach someone to play, and you don't have to say to them, "Hey, look at what your neighbour needs," okay? But that will build itself into the game. Like a good Seven Wonders player has to think, what's best for me? What do I need to stop them from doing? What am I likely going to receive next turn?
Yeah.
What have I already seen in a hand that might come back round to me? What can I expect that to come around? Right? Will I have enough money for the next round if I see the Caravansary? Like, it is so good. There is no game, I don't think, that scales better than Seven Wonders.
Probably not, actually.
No.
And that for me is why just alone Seven Wonders, there's no question about it making my top 10.
I think
Now, in
I'll
Korea,
reserve that
they
point.
also had Seven Wonders Leaders and Seven Wonders Cities, and these are the expansions, much more so than Babel, which we'll leave out of discussion because I've said my piece on Babel, and I don't think that Babel moved it up my chart any means. The highest Seven Wonders that have been on my table is because of Cities and associated with that Leaders. So Leaders adds in that extra phase at the start of the game where you will choose your draft some leaders, which really they dictate the strategy that you were talking about, where that first card is going to then affect everything that you do, which is great.
I think to a degree the Wonder Boards themselves had kind of done that.
That's true, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't
but
consider that.
A Wonder
but-
Board and the choice you make at the beginning kind of dictates the way you will
Yeah,
overall
I'm
play the
Babylon.
game.
I'm probably
And
going
then
to
you'll,
play
you'll
science.
try
yeah.
and pick a leader that
Yeah.
will benefit that one.
Or a leader that lets you go in a different direction.
Or
so that
potentially
you're
one that you think
not-
someone else might
Yeah.
want. But-
Exactly, because you're not going to be as pigeonholed, which is which is why leaders is so good. Although I would never teach someone using leaders.
No.
Now cities takes it to a completely different level because you introduce a whole new suit of card, the black cards, which mean you have 8 cards around, and the black cards put that element of the game that is so like. I hate downtime, and Seven Wonders gets rid of that. But I hate fixed components. I hate knowing there is going to be one caravansary.
Yeah.
And will I see it? And I hate knowing there are 2 temples in a 6-player game. You throw in black cards, its number of black cards equal to the number of players. Unless you're playing with a maximum complement of players, you cannot think, well, I'll play the peace card when it comes to me. And the only way it doesn't come to you is if someone plays it before you. The game might not put it in. So you have to think, hey, maybe I can't do that this game. Just like leaders.
I
Leaders
mean-
you will
I
not
mean-
see every leader.
The original does have that with the guilds.
The guild is the closest thing, but I've never ever known anyone to build their game around a given
No,
guild.
no.
But the black cards obviously add in a little bit more of the wider interactivity between the group
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no longer, we mentioned it on the other videos, but no longer are you just looking at the people to the left and right of you.
Yeah.
You're looking at the people past them as well, because they are incredibly important, because you have to think about. And even if there's someone on the other side of the world, they're playing the -2 gold card. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the points that we've made, you can watch Alex's video because I don't want to repeat what we've said. Now, I've played the game 77 times with the Leaders expansion and 74 times with the Cities, which has almost always also involved the
Yeah.
Leaders.
Right.
But the additional thing with Cities is that it makes it an 8-player game. They both introduce a few more Wonder Boards. And Cities gives you the team option. Oh my god. Seven Wonders Teams is basically everything. I love team games. And the idea of sitting there and you go, right, well, if I play this hand, I'll be passing it on to you. We have to watch out. What you were saying, and one of the common criticisms of Seven Wonders is that you're really only playing with the people next to you, which I don't agree with, generally. Maybe in a 7-player game, that's slightly truer, but in a 4-player game, you got to look across the table. But with teams, let's say we're playing with 6 people, so 3 teams of 2. What's happening to my partner is very important. What's happening to my partner's side is very important. What's happening to my side is very important.
Yeah.
So already the interactivity
And
is
the way
increased.
that the way that war works is slightly differently as well. So
It's much more heavily involved. And
Yeah.
oh my god, Team Seven Wonders is where you can really create some of those ridiculous combos that would be very difficult to do single player. But everyone's sitting there like having their little chats. I don't know. Like, oh my god, that is gaming heaven to me. Any team game, because I get all the pleasure out of competition. I said this before with Codenames, but I get all the pleasure from cooperation. I don't take a mass. I never feel at the end of a game that I win by myself. Very rarely do I feel like I can go, woohoo, yeah, I rule. You know, like Formula D when I rolled that, whatever. You know, that was something special. And I always feel my highest level of pleasure winning a co-op game when we kind of go, oh my god, we did that. That's fantastic. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Now, after the amount of times you've played the game, one of the things that sticks with me whenever I play Seven Wonders is that at the end of the game, I look at my tableau of cards, I think that's my score, and then I go, what could I have done differently? I immediately, I want to play again.
Yes.
Do you have the
Yes.
same thing?
100%. We, Nicola, Lucy, and I, when I bought the game, we went on this weekend holiday in Korea, and we played the game 7 times, not in one sitting, but over the course of that weekend.
Yeah.
And each time I played as a different wonder.
Yeah.
Now, base 7 wonders, I think you could probably say that if I probably wouldn't have played it 140 times. I feel like it probably would have run its course.
Yeah.
But each expansion has added enormous variability, and the Babel expansion for me pushes this. Like, this is a Kennerspiel winning game, and we said how that complexity level was more like Isle of Skye than Istanbul. You put the Babel expansion in, and the complexity goes right up,
Yeah.
which for me is a pleasure. You mentioned Race to the Galaxy earlier, very complex game. That's a pleasurable complexity for me, and that's what Babel introduces. I taught this to people in Korea who weren't gamers, and I would more so than any other game that I've played and not played with you guys. This is the game that I most wanted to bring back and be like, oh my god, Ben will love it because of X, Y, and Z. Alec will love it. This is one of those, the unique game in our collection that every single person enjoys. It's in all 3 of our top 10s, and no one will ever say, I don't want to play Seven Wonders. What they will say is, oh, I don't know if I want to play with Babel. Oh, no, I don't really want to play Teams. Right? It is like, it's like pizza. Right? It works with any number of people, but the issue becomes when someone says, oh, let's get a barbecue base. Ah, no, I don't want a barbecue base. You know you want pizza, but what do you want on it? That is Seven Wonders. And everyone gets to eat it at the same time.
Yeah. I have to say, I don't mind the team.
It's not an Alex top 10 anymore, he's moved it. So.
Actually, I'm thinking Ghost Stories. Antoine Bowser.
I don't mind the team variant, but I'm not overly enamoured with it.
Yeah, you're the same. You don't like it.
I don't like the team variant.
You thought it was a blinking house rule.
I thought it was out.
I thought it might have been a house rule.
Oh my god.
It's because the experience of Seven Wonders is perfectly exciting.
Yeah.
In its original form, I don't need the team variant to enjoy the game. I'm happy.
So many good team games that we've played.
No,
who was I playing with when we double Plutoed?
I can't
remember.
Oh my god!
I mean, for me, the team game doesn't.
It doesn't add too much.
No. It doesn't add anything that I felt was missing at all.
See, I think for me the team game. If I'm having a really bad game of Seven Wonders, it's not too bad because it's not a long game. But in a team game, it's very unlikely that you will both be having a bad game. And even if you are, do you know what? Misery loves company. So you've got someone to be like, oh, like when we're losing a co-op, we'll be like, oh god, it's all over. And in a team game, it's like, Alec, we're getting hosed. But that shared misery is like that shared joy. It's much, much better. I've written down things here. It's one of our most taught games. First played in Korea when I went from my game of friends. It was awesome to bring it back and play with them. Drafting is amazing and provides interaction with minimal downtime. So replayable, each expansion adding to the experience and changing the meta. That's something that makes Babel absolutely great. Adore the team variant. Wish I could play it more. Oh, has so many decisions and a sense of accomplishment for a game with its length and its weight. Yeah. I would play this anytime.
It doesn't say anything on this tablet.
It's just a picture.
He's actually reading Carcassonne.
Of me standing on top of the pyramid.
Yeah, the thing that really overrides everything to do with Seven Wonders is that the barrier to entry as a game is low enough that anybody can play it, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
But the complexity level of the game ramps up if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It appeals to all tiers of players, and it does it well.
Yes, 100%. Like, and it's not one really that anyone like we've got complex games that aren't that. Sorry, we've got like gamer games that aren't that complex really, but you can sort of king make a bit more. There's a tiny element of that in Seven Wonders, but someone who's played it 100 times can play with some in the same game as somebody who's playing it for the first time, and you can all have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the king making thing is slightly negated in Seven Wonders because every decision you make is a personal decision to you. You don't normally show your cards to somebody else.
Oh no,
so
I meant like if I'm not playing any military cards and Alex played one military card because I don't know how the game plays or whatever.
Oh,
he can sponge out 18. If I'm not stopping science cards,
I don't think that's as big of a thing.
No, I don't. I agree.
Because of the way that you play the cards, I think. But, yeah.
Awesome. I can see this. This is what I will. Let's say I fall out of love with board games completely. In the same way that like I don't really play video games particularly anymore, I will never get rid of my original copy of Halo, and I will never ever get rid of this game, even if I fall out of love with board gaming.
There you go. It's an awful lot of things to fall out of love with, by the way.
So. Yeah.